Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and all my loving audience, hopefully. Today we're going to be playing some more of the Star Wars Battlefront beta, which I'm extremely excited for. And I'm definitely going to play a hell of a lot when it arrives at my doorstep, because I pre-order it. We're going to be playing the Walker Assault mode on Hoth. And I don't know if you've seen Empire Strikes Back, but this is actually puts you in the Star Wars universe and in the Battle of Hoth during the Empire Strikes Back, in which the Empire deal out a bit of vengeance against the hideous rebel alliance on the ice fields of Hoth with their immense attacks. So I'm going to be using the personal shield. I think I actually might switch it to Iron Shot. I was actually a little bit tactical this game. See, this is a problem with me voicing over videos. I forget half the things I bloody do. I've got the memory of a goldfish. Yeah, I've switched it to Iron Shot. That gives me a bit more of a advantage when fighting against vehicles. Honestly, this map is absolutely fantastic, I find. And I actually think it is fairly balanced. It just takes, some people saying, oh, it's, if you play as the Empire, you're too overpowered because you obviously get the ATSTs, fighter support, and the ATATs. Yeah, but if you play as the Rebels, you do get a lot of defences and turrets to make use of. Here's me using the Iron Shot ability now by holding Y, trying to take out an ATST, and some TIE fighter just kamikazed into the floor there. See, that ATSTs, the game's only been going like not even a minute, and the ATST's already destroyed, and it's actually gone down now. But look at the scale of the ATAT. You can see in the background emerging like a gigantic metallic behemoth coming to kill us all. But I think this mode is fantastic. I think they've done a really good job on the actual making you feel as in you're on Hoth. I think the skins of the Rebels and the Snowtroopers, if you play as the Empire, are extremely detailed. And I just think it's a great mode. I find this is by far the funnest mode for me. It can be frustrating at times though if you are getting camped by people, for example, hogging some of the turrets. I wouldn't say the like round dish turrets, but more of the circular, more enclosed turrets, like the one I'm firing at the moment, because some people will just camp behind spawn points and pick a lot of enemies off. But I suppose if it's going to get them kills and everything, it's an effective way to get to actually manage to get kills. I don't think this was my best game, but I'm trying to pick off some snowtroopers in the distance. Their famed camouflage. Those evil T-shaped... Well, actually, I don't think the snowtroopers have T-shaped visor. That's just all stormtroopers, but you get what I'm saying. They're quite terrifying. I'm just trying to put a bit on the hurt of them. Oh, pardon that, sore throat. A bit of hurt on the enemy with my blaster rifle. I do got a cheeky little headshot there. Yeah, but I think if this is just a beta, and I actually do listen to feedback, which I'm hoping EA and DICE will, I can see this game being extremely impressive, one of the big games of the year, if not like the big game of the year in terms of ratings and actual people that purchase it. I just think it's got a lot of potential as well. I know it's annoying with, like, for example, people say there's less in this game than the original Battlefront. Yeah, that is true, because it's a shame the Clone Wars isn't in here. I didn't realise there was quite that many snowtroopers there, but I did manage to get, what, 2 at least before dying. My cat's just come back into the room after finishing his dinner. Hello, Lucas. Yeah, it's a shame they haven't got like the Clone Wars period on this, because I think like the battles of Geonosius would be a really, really nice sort of engagement, a large-scale Geonosis battle with maybe the Geonosians assisting the droid army. And I think that has a lot of potential, and I think I can see that either being included in the expansion for this or a possible DLC, depending on how they want to work it. We know we're getting a new map if you pre-ordered it, and a new map in general, which is the Battle of Jakku, which I'm quite, I think it is Jakku, which I'm quite interested to see, because that's based off the new film, which I'm very excited for. But I think this still has a lot of potential for DLC and whatnot. There's several new map worlds that could be explored, and I say like exploited, because there are many different maps and scenarios on the original Battlefront. Like, for example, a space battle, I think they ever do include space battles on this. They have got to have something like the Return of the Jedi themed space battle with the Rebel Alliance fleet against the second Death Star and the, what's its face? I'm trying to think, the Imperial fleet with the Executor class Star Destroyer. But at the same time, they can have like the Death Star trench run from the New Hope film, and also the battle above Coruscant in the Revenge of the Sith film. They could be 3 lovely space battles they can include. I also think, I know it go a bit off topic, but why stop there? Why don't they include, once from the same like universe for the Empire and Rebels, why don't they include, go a bit further in the future and like show off new weaponry that was available in the Star Wars universe? So I'm struggling on top of my head to think of stuff, but I know there was a lot of changes to stormtroopers. There was loads of new starships and vehicles that were developed through the course. Something like for some people played a game called Star Wars Empire at War. Why don't they let you drive something like a TIE crawler, which was essentially a TIE fighter that was like a TIE fighter tank. But moving on, yeah, I think this is a very, very impressive game, and I've been extremely impressed by Star Wars so far. And I'll give you a little overview of Walker Assault. If you're playing as the Rebel Alliance, you more or less have to defend these uplink stations, where the more of them that are activated and you hold them for against Imperial Assault, Y-wing bombers deploy. And I think these are controlled by the artificial intelligence, but these Y-wing bombers come down and bomb the AT-ATs, and it's only once the AT-AT has been bombed by one of these Y-wings that the AT-AT is vulnerable. So when the AT-AT is actually vulnerable, everyone just prioritise and try and take out. And if you're the Empire, essentially, you want to stop the Y-wings from actually deploying and get to destroying your AT-ATs, and you also want to ensure that the AT-ATs reach the end of the level, which is the middle sort of like schematic at the top. When you have the two AT-AT health bars, you've got the number of Y-wings on the map, and the middle one is like the red line is how close the Empire is to like finishing the level. Because towards the end of the mission, if the Empire win in very, very good fashion, and it's very true to the films, the AT-AT destroys the shield generator guard defending Echo Base. And I don't know if you've seen that, but more or less General Veers says targeting maximum firepower, and they blow the shit out of it practically. Which I don't see why they couldn't have done that in the beginning and just saved themselves a lot of trouble. But moving on, this map lets you, if you're playing as the Rebels, it lets you take command of A-Wings, which was like a very fast anti-fighter starship used by the Rebel Alliance. X-Wings, which is like their versatile, I would say, balanced fighter. And it also lets you take control of the T-46 or T-47 snow speeders, or air speeders, which are very, very cool little starships that were used during the Battle of Hoth. But also, on the original, the only annoying thing I found on this, but I can understand why it's on here. I know it's a bit of an arse, but if they had something like a bit of a higher like player count, maybe directed at like sound a bit like, I don't know, like Battlefield like 64 and a 32 and 32. Why don't you have 3 or 4 AT-ATs, but actually let the Rebels with the ability to use the air speeders and be able to tow cable the AT-ATs down? But make this like a very, very hard process to do, but still a possible option. So I think that could possibly be a quite cool little addition. Or even give the I would say the Rebels a few vehicles to, like, such as like little land speeders to use, maybe some hover bikes, or no, like speeder bikes to use would be cool to get around the map a bit quicker. Overall, I think they've done a good job with this. I personally, I find, oh god, Darth Vader. And I managed to wound him, but Darth Vader practically kicked the shit out of me though. But I do think this is a very good example of me just trying to kill a AT-ST, but at least I got it with a smart rocket, which gives me a few points. Well, one little addition, I know it's only a little thing that I like what they do, but I do like when you're actually in Echo Base and the snowtroopers or the Empire start getting close, not invading it, the actual alarm goes off. I know it's only a simple little thing, but it just amuses me. I like the extra detail. And this is what I mean, there's another guy in a turret, which is annoying the hell out of me, which I'm trying to take out. We got the AT-AT actually sitting outside the base now. I do agree with the fact that the AT-AT should be able to, it shouldn't be, if you know what I mean, someone can't just drive it. Because if someone just got in like the original Battlefront on this, with only 2 of them especially, he just ain't ever going to come out of the AT-AT for the entire level. And you could say, oh, they can make it so you kill them and then they spawn back, but then it's just getting in a repetitive cycle, and depending on how slow the AT-AT is, it's for being the Empire, virtually, it's going to be impossible to win. So I can understand why they have it so the AT-AT's like in a set path, and you can only control the guns of the AT-AT for a minute at a time, because the armaments that the AT-AT possesses is quite impressive, to be honest. The all-terrain armour transport is one of the most terrifying pieces of equipment that the Empire can employ. I think it's something like it can also deploy like 50 stormtroopers out of it as well, or in this case snowtroopers, which is actually like a cool addition they could have done on the game. Possibly they could have made it so you actually spawned rappelling out of the AT-AT in like their midsection, but I suppose people could just camp that and shoot you down. I do find this generally this map and mode very, very cool, and I can see this being definitely one of the most played game modes. Me just going on a little blaster turret trying to take out this AT-ST, but I'm not doing a great deal of damage to it, to be honest. I got a bit excited and just decided to keep trying to shoot it before someone else actually took it out, which was fairly annoying. I do manage to get one kill with the turret though. I normally find actually being on a turret on this, you don't feel that safe or protected. It's not like a lot of old Call of Duty games, so you think you can just mow down waves of enemy and they're not going to notice you, or they're going to struggle to kill you. On this, I generally feel like if I'm standing on the turret for too long, I'm just going to get blown up, and it generally happens. That was a tad silly in me, running into two heavily armed snow troopers, which dealt me a great deal of hurt. Well, Luke Skywalker's just dealt with those snow troopers, so I bet they were happy when they saw him come around the corner. Also discussing another game mode that was recently announced, or at least I think it was, because I only remember reading an article on it today, was I think it's the hero mode, or it's like hero hunt, where it gives teams 7 regular players up against 1 hero, which I think is an extremely cool game mode. I'm gonna love to see how it works out. I can just imagine like 7 like stormtroopers all surrounding and trying to kill like someone like Luke Skywalker. But it'd be interesting to see what other heroes they give the alliance on this. I can definitely see Han Solo being one of them, with employing a number of different abilities. Maybe Lando Calrissian, possibly. That's like a sort of a smuggler. On Chewbacca, I can definitely see him doing. I don't quite know what they're going to do with R2-D2 and C-3PO. And also showing how the Rebels can actually win Walker Assault. This is only just a little bit halfway through the level and already one of the AT-ATs have been destroyed. And sometimes we get all the way to the end and then the Empire still have both AT-ATs. So yes, you can destroy them fairly early on. All it takes is people protecting the uplink stations for long enough. But sometimes it is quite difficult if you're being completely overwhelmed continuously by the Empire. I don't know what I was shooting out there with my heavy blaster. Sometimes I don't know why I do it, and it's absolutely retarded, but sometimes I can't help. But I can't help but shoot at the AT-AT, even though I'm not doing anything to it, but it just makes me feel better about myself, I think. I do wish you could actually do like some damage to it just with regular like weapons, but it's like ridiculously minimal that it takes. You'd have to shoot it for a ridiculous amount of time to do something. So at least you can do something to it. It just feel like I think they should add that in possibly. Even if it's like ridiculously like minimal, as in you hardly do anything and it would take like all your team shooting at once to actually start whittling it down itself, because that should really happen anyway. It is, and also I think the turrets would be able to penetrate it, you would think anyway. All the rebels would not bother to employ them. Another little note, I do love the additions of the 2 Imperial Star Destroyers hovering overhead in the atmosphere, and I do love the little rebel fleet that they have there, which I think is a few Nebulum B-class frigates and a few Corellian corvettes, I think they are. The Corellian corvette is the ship I think is the Tantive 5, which is seen in Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, and it's the first ship that you really see in Star Wars, being chased by the Imperial Star Destroyer. And we've even got a little rebel air transport trying to get the fuck out of Dodge, and I really don't blame it. I think the addition of the iron cannon in the background is very, very true to the film as well, and it's a very nice, cool feature. I know what I was doing here. I think I was so actually entranced by the sheer spectacle of Hoth that I just didn't notice the snowtrooper actually come up to me and shoot me in the face, which was rather stupid if you ask my humble opinion. But this is towards the end of the level, or getting towards the end of the level, and this is just chaos. We've got rebel starships flying around trying to engage the TIE fighters, which provide in air support for the AT-ATs, and we're trying to defend the Y-Wings. And this is where it's going to horribly wrong for me, because I'm now in a T-47 airspeeder. And you can see the little tow cable on the back of it. But I'm shit at flying things on this game at the moment. I was never that good on Battlefield, if you could make a comparison, and I'm not very good on this at the moment at least, even though people might say, oh, it's easy. Yes, it may be, but I'd have to practice a lot in them first. So if I seem to go in one, I just seem to either do very little in one, like kill the odd few infantry here and there, but I seem to struggle to actually fly them and know fully what I'm doing. So at the moment I've got I think 3 or 4 TIE fighters I can see on that on this mini map, all just after me, and I'm struggling to even do anything. I think I got a little bit of damage to that one, but it was very minimal. I love the fact you've got TIE interceptors here as well, which are the TIE fighter equivalent of a A-Wing, if you want to make a comparison. Also makes me interested to think will they include B-Rings on this game, which you see on Return of the Jedi. Return of the Jedi, which were like the heavy rebel assault fighter, or fighter bomber I would call it, which are really, really cool. And I definitely already know that probably the Millennium Falcon is going to be on this game. That probably goes without saying. Well, they can have it so Darth Vader's advanced like TIE fighter that you see in the New Hope film is included in the game, or even they could include new TIE fighters, because I think the TIE bomber should be a feature and we should see that included. Or we could even have something such as, if I was to give an example, I think they're TIE defenders, which are an advanced form of starfighter, and I think that's from my Star Wars Empire War knowledge, because I used to play that game a lot, and I'm actually tempted to start playing it again. I'm just deciding whether to play it with mods or without mods, just to start off. Yeah, but we're still defending the uplink. Here's a little TIE interceptor flying off. And we're doing fairly well, but we're coming to the end of the level, and that AT-AT has got to go. Otherwise we are going to lose, and the shield generator is going to be destroyed, and then the Empire will just bombard the crap out of Hoth, even though there's not much here to begin with. And we got AT-AT's health down. And I do love just when everyone fires out at once, just the sheer firepower everyone can unleash on it. I'm trying to use my snow speeder again, but it's probably, I think, if I do remember, this goes horribly wrong when I tried it this time. Yeah, I've already got a TIE fighter in my face. And boom. Yeah, it's probably for the best me dying early in a aerial vehicle, because I'm probably going to not last on anyway. But we are taking out its health. The Psycho Rifle does a little bit of damage to it. Overall, we've got ATSDs running around trying to pick us off as well. Snowtroopers just trying to stop us from putting hurt on the AT-AT. I don't know how they've done it, but people probably explain it simply to me. But I feel like, although this game is only 20 versus 20 and 40 player overall, I feel like it's much more than that when I watch this. I think it's just a scale of what they do. It just feels like it's loads more. I feel like this is about like 40 on 40, this game's feel like. Oh, we actually managed to get a victory out of that, which is always really, really nice to see. Victory for the Rebel Alliance. Not that it actually happened in real life. And I finish a humble 12th for 12 kills, 25 deaths out of 20. Not my best game by any means. I certainly do normally excel a little bit more Walker Assault mode, but I actually prefer playing as the Empire on it, because I'm a big fan of the Empire in the Star Wars universe. Going up a little, getting a bit more points for the beta. I think it runs out Tuesday, if I am correct, because I think they extended the beta. But anyway, ladies and gents, I don't know if I will put much more Star Wars content on this regarding the beta, as it's nearly finished. But as always, feel free to like the video, dislike it, comment your feedback, and I shall see you next time when I upload a video. Take care, till then.